So Drake is one of the most successful artists, not only of this generation, but of all time. Drake has 10 #1 albums on the Billboard 200, 9 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. Even Billboard has hailed him as the artist of the 2010s. RIAA, also known as the Recording Industry Association of America, has him as a top-selling digital artist of all time, with 163.5 million copies sold in America and 170 million copies sold worldwide. So as being one of the most successful artists that we have ever seen, why is there a question that continues to loom over Drake like a Pusha T diss?
And yeah, there you go. Right?
Exactly.
Why is there one question that continues to loom over Drake in regards to, does he have a classic album? Well, we must first define what is a classic album. Now, in my definition, what a classic album is a creative, unique body of work that not only separates itself from the status quo, but pushes the boundaries, as well as becomes timeless for resetting a new standard of greatness. Now, I'm not gonna hold you. It took me almost an hour to come up with that definition. I low-key want some credit for that.
And they don't have no award for that. Trophies. And they don't have no award for that.
So in regards to what's a classic, what's not a classic, I understand music is subjective. In its actual definition, being subjective means to be based on or influenced by personal feelings, taste, and opinions. So how you consume the music, where you were at the time, the mood you were in, what you were feeling, who was around you, what you have experienced, determines what you deem great music or not, and what you may deem a classic or not. So I completely understand that. Now, in regards to what the general consensus has as classic projects by Drake, there is two. One is So.
Oh, don't do it. Please don't do it.
Sorry, I was gonna say So Far Gone, and you know, if you're reading this, it's too late. But my bad. I was talking about albums, actual albums. My bad. I've been faded way too long. I'm flowing in and out of consciousness. The very first project people think of, the very first album people think of in terms of a classic album by Drake, a masterpiece by Drake, is Drake's sophomore album, Take Care, released November 15th, 2011. Now, Take Care is said to be Drake's most vulnerable, introspective, and melodic album. Now, me personally, my favorite song on Take Care is Just Blaze.
Why am I remain that forever in the same place my brother Wayne at forever? I'm a descendant of either Marley or Hendrix. I haven't figured it out because my story is far from finished. I'm here.
I feel like I'm a descendant of either Marley or Hendrix. I haven't figured it out because my story is far from finished. So when I think of Marley and Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley and Jimi Hendrix, I think of two of the greatest artists we've ever seen, because they were rebels, because they were innovators, because they rose up against the status quo, not only in music, but in society. And they made challenging, uplifting, soul-searching music. Now, when I think about a classic hip-hop album that resembles those traits, this is my go-to.
The people highest up got the lowest self-esteem. The prettiest people do the ugliest things. For the road to riches and diamond rings. We shine because they hate us, floss because they the greatest. We trying to buy back our 40 acres. And for that paper, look how low we are stoop. Even if you in a band, you still in a coupe.
Now, this song is called All Falls Down. It was one of Kanye West's leading singles for his debut album, The College Dropout, that was released February 10th, 2004. So All Falls Down tackles the difficulties that Black women and Black people deal with on a day-to-day. The difficulty of trying to achieve your own dreams, but the issues of dealing with your own insecurities, as well as everyone else's insecurities and what they believe you should be based on money, materialism, and even racism. And basically this album speaks to everyone, no matter who you are. So to go back to Take Care doesn't really give social commentary on social injustices, systemic oppression, or even the Black experience. So with this album, what are we really talking about? And when you say you're Marley and Hendrix, my questions are,
do you love this shit? Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous?
So if Drake is not speaking on these issues, then why do people connect with Take Care? Well, because it deals with still the vulnerabilities of what everyone goes through, the feelings, the mood. So with that being said, then how do you specifically describe Take Care? No, that wasn't a rhetorical question. I was asking you, how would you describe Take Care to a novice fan? Well, in my opinion, how I would describe Take Care, it's almost like, it will almost be like right when you got done doing your acceptance speech, and now you're at the after party, you're drinking, you're smoking, you got girls around, and you're really reflecting upon your own journey of how you got there. And all these feelings creep up on you, all at the same time. That's kind of how I would describe Take Care. Now, I didn't notice this until I re-listened to Take Care. How much Drake references drinking. Like, not that I'm a straight edge guy or I'm a noob, but like he references drinking in almost every other song. I never noticed that till then. And plus you mix that with the album sounding like it's underwater the whole time. It's almost like this album in Drake, he was in a pool full of liquor and he dived in it.
Hold up. Headshot. Sit down. Stand up. Pass out. Wake up. Fade it. Fade it.
Well, speaking of that, this song is one of the lead singles from Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, his sophomore album, which was released October 22nd, 2012. Now, I don't have many words to describe this album, but it is a classic as well because it says it in the title. It talks about the story of good and evil. The story of good and evil. A good kid living in an environment. It's almost like, it's like he puts us in the backseat of his car and he's riding around showing us and teaching us what it's like to live the everyday life in Compton. The good, the bad, the ugly, the family, the friends, the good decisions, the bad decisions, the partying. And you truly feel like you were in Compton after listening to this album. That's what we call great storytelling. That's what we call being able to use your words to connect to the listener. You don't need to be an activist to have a classic album in hip hop. You don't need to be an activist. But I think the thing that this album Take Care is slightly missing to be a classic is two things. One is substance, and I don't mean substance abuse.
Gonna make someone around me catch a body like that, no.
It's lacking substance to me in some aspects, as well as storytelling. Like I said, the only two songs on here which really highlight storytelling is Look What You Done, which it tells the story of seeing the pain that his mother is going through as she's just trying to provide. Meanwhile, he's trying to take all these opportunities to try to finally be the provider himself so that his mom doesn't have to go through that type of lifestyle anymore. Brings me back to the old days. What a time to be alive.
Jumpin', them boys up to something.
No, I'm not talking about that collab album with Future. No. I'm talking about So Far Gone.
I just wanna be successful.
That's all I want, man.
I just wanna be successful.
But the reason why people deem So Far Gone as a classic is because of substance and storytelling. Once again, Take Care is a phenomenal project, a phenomenal collective of songs, but it's still, in my opinion, lacking substance and storytelling. In my humble opinion. Straight up. That might ruin my whole argument. God, I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Travis Scott. Love him. And I don't look for Travis Scott to tell me the world's problems. I don't go to Travis Scott for messaging. I don't go to Travis Scott for anything else but to catch a vibe. Or, it's like you don't listen to Travis Scott. It's like you experience Travis Scott. I mean, let me explain it this way.
Can y'all feel that? Can you feel that thing that's oozing out your doggone hand? That thing is beating your doggone chest right now. Can you feel that?
You see, Travis Scott's music gives you, goosebumps.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
With the production, the lush production, and the rich sounds, and the Kid Cudi type ad libs and groans, and all that is just like you experience his music. You don't listen to it. It's almost like a drug. It heightens your senses, your hearing, your seeing, your feeling. It just does. So, but once again, all I just said is why I expect more from Take Care for me to label it a classic. But then let's go to the second album that the general consensus deems a classic, which is
Lakewood means rewind, a gunshot means forward. You requested it, so we rewind.
The only two songs on here which really highlight storytelling is Look What You Done.
Now, if you pay close attention to detail, I did mention one song where I felt Drake had storytelling at his finest, but I never mentioned the second song. Come on now. You know what I'm about to talk about. The highlight of this album, which basically created the phrase "in my feelings." Sing together. I'm just saying.
You could do better. Tell me, have you heard that lately? I'm just saying you could do better.
You wonder why people resonated and still resonate to the song Marvin's Room is because a lot of us, almost all of us, have gone through at one time or another a bad breakup and then have felt regret, loneliness, and have made bad decisions along the way. So a song like Marvin's Room, even though sometimes it can be looked upon as weak or looked upon as laughable or looked upon as weird. All of us can relate, even if we never committed the act of a Marvin's Room. We all have thought it. And this is storytelling at its finest. But then I flipped over to a song like Headlines, which, I'm not gonna lie to you, it took me 30 minutes. I still can't really figure out the song outside of maybe at first Drake thinks he's the best and he's arrogant, but then people don't think he's the best. So now he gotta prove he's the best by becoming a mob boss and taking people out. I don't know. Maybe it's just a metaphor that he gotta kill people on tracks. I don't know. It gets kind of weird. And then he says his girl think he's empty. I don't know. I think my issue with Drake is that he doesn't have complete thoughts. He just raps in lines. And we're going to get to that in the next album.
But then let's go to the second album that the general consensus deems a classic, which is, in my opinion, better than Take Care. And that's Drake's third studio album, Nothing Was the Same. It uncovers some family drama, like on Too Much, or even like on From Time, where Drake explains the difficult relationship he has with his father. But what I wanted to highlight was just a line. I just want to highlight a line that really spoke to me. When Drake said,
"Wanted to tell you, accept yourself. You don't have to prove shit to no one, accept yourself."
Now that is from the intro, the very first track on Nothing Was the Same, Tuscan Leather, which gives you a great indication of what to expect for the rest of this album. But when I hear that line, I wanted to tell you, accept yourself. You don't have to prove shit to no one, accept yourself. My mind goes back to, well, this.
Take it from a man that loves what you got. And baby girl, you a star, don't let him tell you you're not. Now is it real? Eyebrows, fingernails, hair, is it real? If it's not, girl, you don't care. Cause what's real is something that the eyes can't see, that the hands can't touch, that them bras can't be, and that's you.
Now this song is Crooked Smile, one of the lead singles off of J. Cole's sophomore album, Born Sinner, released June 18th, 2013. And a song like this is something that is essential because it is speaking to women, more importantly, black women, and how they need to love themselves and love who they are, love what they see in the mirror. A messaging that we don't really get enough of, and that women don't get enough of, and black women don't get enough of. Something that was needed.
I wanted to shed light on the difference between making it a hot line and making it a hot song. And going back to the perspective of Drake lacking focus at times in his songs and in his music. For Drake to be universally known as someone that makes music for women, think, does he truly make music about women empowerment? And overall, when we go back to the definition of a classic, make a timeless music. Yes, Drake makes great IG captions. He has great bars and lines. But does Drake tell you what you need to hear, or simply what you want to hear?
But it's just still lacking something for it to be a classic for me. And I think it almost says it, and I think it almost says it in one line.
It's breaking, I dropped the ball on some personal shit, I need to embrace it. I'm honest, I make mistakes, I'll be the second to admit it. Think that's why I need it in my life to check me when I'm tripping.
And that is genius. He says, instead of saying I'll be the first to admit it, I'll be the second to admit it. And that's whether that's because of ego, pride, stubbornness, I'll be the second to admit it. But then I go to a line that says,
Don't wanna act fall horrific like it's all terrific. I got a couple past due bills, I won't get specific. I got a problem with spending before I get it. We all self-conscious, I'm just the first to admit it. Yeah.
We're all self-conscious, I'm just the first to admit it. And I think that's where Nothing Was the Same falls slightly short. Because yes, it's in tune with your feelings, yes, it's in tune with who you are, but it's still missing being able to be aware and recognize it first, who you are first, how you feel first, instead of being a second to admit it. I mean, I know a lot of people, this album helped them get through hard times, whether that's relationships, whether that's financial trouble, whatever struggles you were going through. I know this album, as well as Take Care, helped a lot of people. So, once again, music is subjective. I'm not trying to downplay what this music means to everyone. But for me personally, it's just not enough.
Don't think about it too much, too much, too much, too much.
No, it's not too much. It's not enough, actually. It's not too much. But it just, you know what? To wrap this up, I think J. Cole says it best.
Always gonna be a bigger house somewhere, but nigga, feel me. Long as the people in that motherfucker love you dearly. Always gonna be a whip that's better than the one you got. Always gonna be some clothes that's fresher than the ones you rock. Always gonna be a bitch that's better out there on the tours. But you ain't never gonna be happy till you love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing, no such thing.